Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I do have to say off the top, by way of a disclaimer or a warning, I am not a futurist. I'm really not in the predictions business. I'm more in the finger-pointing, backbiting, and recrimination business. So if you're looking for me to give you further insights beyond that very interesting presentation about what's going to happen, I'm really not going to make any predictions except for those that are completely and utterly obvious. So if I can say something with absolute certainty about what's coming, I will, but chances are you'll have caught on to that already before me. What I am going to try to do is make sense of where we're at after the election last year and the playing out of the implications of that, and hazard a guess, I guess, at what that means in terms of policy making for the future. And I will talk about some completely predictable trends that are coming at us in terms of the economy and some challenges those present. And I guess I'll ask the musical question, are we actually up to that challenge? And I'll leave you hanging until the end before I answer that. But first of all, let's just quickly review what happened in that really epic-making election of May the 2nd, 2011, because I really did think it ushered in not just a new government, the fabled strong, stable national majority that the Conservatives were after, but a new kind of majority government, one that we really haven't seen before. I don't mean in some ideological sense, but more in terms of the regional alliances that it is shaping up. Because in Canada, of course, regional politics is one of the defining elements of our politics. This is, as I say, a new type of coalition. The Conservative Party, born of course, of the Reform Party in the West, built upon that chassis. The Reform Party slogan was always, "The West wants in." Well, the long and the short of that election is the West is in, and in a sense, Ontario has joined it. We now have a coalition of the West and Ontario. We've not seen that kind of majority before. Through basically the most of our history, you had to win either, if you wanted to win a majority government, you had to carry either Quebec and or Atlantic Canada in addition to Ontario if you wanted to form a majority government. This is only the second government since Borden 100 years ago that did not carry either Quebec or Atlantic Canada. Chrétien managed the trick, but basically had to win virtually every seat in Ontario to do it. This is the majority government with the fewest seats in Quebec of any majority since Borden. Now that's troublesome in some ways. We'd like to see governments with representation across the country. The good news is it means that this government can approach Quebec, if I can put it this way, at their leisure. The problem that has bedeviled Conservative parties in particular over the years has been, first, the Liberals' lock on Quebec, and latterly the Bloc Québécois' grip on it, tempted Conservatives in the pursuit of their frustrated ambitions to form majority governments to make the big play, the Hail Mary pass to Quebec, and to promise Quebec things that frankly couldn't be delivered, and to appeal to the Quebec nationalist vote. It either didn't work, and it certainly didn't work for this government in their first term, or it worked briefly, as in Mulroney's time, only to blow up in their face because it was a fundamentally unstable arrangement. This government doesn't need to win 40, 50 seats in Quebec. If it wins 10 or 15, it only won 5 this time, but if it wins 10 or 15, it's in a very strong position with the amount of support it has in the West and now in Ontario. This majority has the most seats from the West, proportionally, of any majority in our history. This is an equal partnership between the West and Ontario. We've never seen that before. So this is, as I say, I want to stress, a new type of government. It heralds the arrival of Western Canada as a political force. We've been seeing this coming for some time, and we're going to see more of it in the decades to come. That's where the population is going. That is increasingly where the wealth is located, and it is increasingly going to define our politics. It will be interesting because the West, I grew up in the West has always seen itself as kind of in opposition, permanently in opposition. It was always those, Eastern bastards who were making policy, and the West's, our job was to react to it. And that formed our view of politics and our view of the country in a lot of ways. It will be interesting to see how Western attitudes change once it dawns on people, wait a minute, we are those Eastern bastards. We're the Western bastards now. We're the ones who are running things. and we can only blame ourselves if we don't like the results. So that's going to be interesting to see how that evolves. So what you have, as I say, is what you might call a paymasters coalition. It is the wealthy, wealth-producing parts of the country, particularly in the West, but also Ontario, at least in its own view of itself. And I think part of what went on in that election, it was fascinating to watch, was Ontario, which I don't need to tell any of you, has gone through some pretty tough times in recent years, and might easily have decided, you know, what we need is the healing balm of government to soothe us, to get us through this. We need more subsidies and we need more protection and we need to go in that direction.